Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in. Tuesday, May 6th, the Fantasy Footballers, Mike Wright, Jason Moore, Andy Holloway, back with you. What a day. What a day to talk fantasy football. The front part of May.
Yeah, I mean, this is the grind season for us. I don't know how your guys' process is going, but I've been in them sheets.
You have.
Been in them sheets, statting out, researching, reading, and writing, and typing, and all sorts of...
You are a freak in the sheets.
Yeah, that's what they say.
The Google Sheets.
Yes.
I hope we mean.
Well, at least.
At least. No. Welcome to the show. We are in the midst of.
Obviously, he's also good at Excel.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And countless other spreadsheets. There's got to be more, right?
Probably numbers. He's good at numbers.
Oh,
No.
numbers.
No.
Has anyone ever fired up numbers?
I've had to open stuff in numbers on accident.
Yeah, open it
on accident
so that you can copy and paste out into Google Sheets.
Has anyone ever opened up numbers like, oh, man, I'm about to just absolutely crush this data with numbers?
Nah. I think half of it is the name of the app. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just numbers.
Yeah, I also use letters, but I feel like I can't.
Not in that app.
Stupid.
So, yeah, it's the beginning of May. We're in the process of projecting 500-plus offensive players for the UDK. Each of us goes through and gets all of our player projections together for the launch of the UDK on June 1st, and so we're in the midst of that because we also need to record 100-plus player profile videos this month, which means we need to know exactly what we think about every single one of these players. And with the draft now over, we have a lay of the land, and most often Mike and I complete this task, and Jason is behind.
Oh, yeah. Weeks behind.
And not this year. This year, Jason is out ahead. He is, which just adds to the lore of Jason becoming a new human being after the age of 40.
That is true.
Yeah, I still am not confident I will finish first.
Probably not.
I've got a lead, but my process is
the
slow.
tortoise hair thing.
Yeah, it's a tortoise hair.
So before your 40s, you were a larger man who hated sweet potatoes and reading, sitting, and the morning.
Yeah.
And also doing his work on time.
Now that one I take on.
No, I'm just kidding. But you were very thorough and therefore took longer due to your fastidiousness.
Yes,
I
go deep.
But now you're out ahead of it. So
I took a cabin trip where all I did for 24 hours straight was bleed my eyes. That's a phrase. On Google Sheets.
Okay. So we're on our way. UltimateDraftKit.com if you want to check that out. It'll be here before you know it. Our quick question of the day before we jump into some of your questions on today's episode, if you're still listening to us, is this. Who is a player you are willing to forgive in 2025?
Did you lose your spot?
A little bit, yeah. And I just felt like I needed a filler word in between there. Who is a player you're willing to forgive as we head into the new season? So forgiveness, it doesn't come easy in fantasy football.
No.
We have the burns when a player has cost you, when you've invested your offseason building your perfect roster and a player doesn't deliver on their promise, or maybe it's injuries that have happened more and more, or whatever the case may be. Forgiveness can be hard.
Well, and oftentimes you shouldn't forgive because it's the second burn that you're like, I should have known better.
So yours is Breece Hall then?
No, that is the clear layup answer that is not true. I have not forgiven him yet. I would love to forgive him, but that comes earned. He will earn my forgiveness. It will not be given
he has to ask
with
for
grace. He has to perform.
Yeah, I don't
He has to go out there and dominate, and I will lovingly forgive him. But until that happens, no.
Things that make sense in fantasy football, but if applied to other areas of life, would be quite destructive.
Yes, correct. The player who has proven nothing, in fact, you could argue has proven that I shouldn't forgive him, to me, is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey was an injury. We've seen injured seasons from him in the past. He's 29 years old, which is older for a running back, but that is not an age cliff for the elites. The elites don't just stop performing at 29 years old. He is healthy right now, and so
by all
reports, he's healthy right now, not dealing with any issues. He was pretty much healthy at the end of last season, and if he's on the field, he's going to dominate in fantasy. This is just a question of injury, so I have to ask myself, do I believe that he has either aged out or is guaranteed to be injured? And I don't. I don't think that's a guarantee at all. He takes incredible care of his body, and he's going to be used in the Shanahan system the way he always is, which is as a complete bell cow. So I'm going to draft him unafraid, and I'll take it on the chin if I'm wrong, but I forgive his injuries.
3 of the last 5 years lost to injury for Christian McCaffrey.
How are the other 2?
Very good. Very good. It's also encouraging to hear you say such positive things about a 29-year-old running back, because that must mean that you love 28-year-old running back Joe Mixon.
Well, he did say the elites.
Oh, okay.
He didn't just say olds.
Look, it's we all know what Christian McCaffrey can do in a healthy season. I think some things that are in question this year are will the team at 29 use him in the exact same fashion? Will they be that good of an offense? These are things that we don't know exactly. No Debo, no Ayuk for a while. They just locked up Kittle, who they apparently were rumored to have been offered a second-round pick for.
Yeah, heard that.
So, look, most of the time I think you can trust that San Francisco gets it figured out. We joke about Tomlin always being above 500. The 49ers are always a good bet to, perform no matter what the odds are.
Yeah, they lost a lot of players in free agency, and their win total is still 10.5, which is pretty important for running backs. Over the last 4 years, top 5 fantasy running backs are on teams that average 10 wins.
I don't think you have to forgive Christian McCaffrey, though. You can. But I'm saying I don't think every fantasy player needs to do that.
No, I don't either.
Do you think they need to?
No, if you felt the burns and you think, look, this is an old running back who's been dealing with injuries, I'm not going to buy in again. You're going to feel so good if he gets injured, not in a happy for his injury way, but just like a dodged the landmine sort of way. This isn't a player where people are going to be lukewarm on. We're going to know at the end of the season whether he was an awesome pick or a terrible pick. I don't see a world where he comes out and is just like, we got it. We drafted him as the running back 10, and he turns out he was the running back 10. Like, that's not going to happen.
Is that where he's going right now?
Around there. Usually, I can look that up, but
he's got to be going above running back 10.
Maybe 8. I'll check it out.
Yeah, let me know, because that's actually the point I was going to make about McCaffrey was, can he meet expectations?
He's the running back 8 right now, according to Sleeper.
Yeah, and RB5 on Underdog, because you're seeing, you're factoring in the upside of Christian McCaffrey.
Well, the last time we saw Christian McCaffrey was in that game against Buffalo, where it finally looked like, Christian McCaffrey is healthy. So his final stat line in that game is 25% of the snaps. He was 7 for 53. The injury happened for those who didn't have Christian McCaffrey on the team. The injury happened while he got a shoestring swipe of his foot as he was breaking free for a gigantic touchdown run and just happened to come down on the knee. So I'm with Jason that it is going to feel like it's going to feel like a big weight on you as you're looking at selecting him. But I think that you should.
Yeah, there's no doubt that his risk rating in the Ultimate Draft
it's going to be
very high. It is a risky pick, but no risk it, no biscuit.
I will forgive Marvin Harrison Jr. for what was an underwhelming rookie season at wide receiver. Underwhelming compared to expectations, being drafted in the NFL draft as high as he was, being drafted in fantasy drafts as high as he was. Whether that was rational of fantasy players or not, it is what happened. And therefore, he is in a position where a lot of people, I don't think, want to mess with that. We also need to be honest. Like, I have Kyler Murray in a dynasty league. I'm happier to have Baker Mayfield in a dynasty league. There wasn't a world 2 years ago that I could have comprehended saying that sentence.
Right.
But I feel more...
You would have been locked in a room.
Yeah, I feel more confident and my expectations being met in Baker Mayfield than Kyler. Because
Laser Mayfield.
That was a little late. But Kyler,
they said Baker somewhere in there. It just hit the button.
Maybe I'm wrong in this, but it's just Kyler's. The fact he can have a great game, he can disappear. It does reflect on our opinions of Marvin Harrison. To put it all in perspective, and Jason, you've said this before, but I'm willing to forgive. It's a rookie season. He's one of only 6 rookie wideouts in the last decade to put up 880 and 8. So his company in that group, A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, Jamar Chase, Jordan Addison, and Brian Thomas. So in the history of rookie wide receivers, he still put up good numbers. It wasn't Malik Neighbors, and it wasn't what we expected for fantasy. This was a situation where we did the math was too simple. And it betrayed fantasy players. And what I mean by that is we took away the weapons for Kyler in the offseason. We added the first-round draft pick, and we just piled on all the expectations and targets and expected everything to go to Marvin Harrison with no problems. And instead, the truth is, in that offense, he was a decoy half the time. He really, truly took the top off the defense. They didn't throw him underneath stuff. It opened up the middle of the field for Trey McBride to have a breakout campaign. But it was very evident the whole season long he was not fundamental for Marvin Harrison to have a good game for the Cardinals to succeed.
Yeah, and his target market share should go up. He was only at 21% this rookie season. If you look at other rookies that are like that, A.J. Brown was 19.5%, CeeDee Lamb was 19%. This is a normal rookie season. We're just disappointed based on expectations. He was not a bad wide receiver. He didn't come out and bust. He was disappointing, but sometimes the process of – I would say most oftentimes the process of wide receivers is to take a big leap forward in their second year. Now, what's changed is in recent history we have a handful of rookies that come on and dominate in year one, and so we're like, he sucks, he's a bum, but he should get better.
It was a expectation issue for sure. If you had been able to draft him last year and he had been a flex player – that you can bounce in and out of your lineup. People drafted him to lock him in as maybe their wide receiver 1.
No, he was drafted as wide receiver 8. So yeah, he was being drafted as a 1.
He was going to be your 1 on your team, and he was not that. So what did he finish at?
Wide receiver 28 in half PPR, that's not that bad.
It's not.
Obviously crushing defeat for where you drafted.
It was super inconsistent too.
He was very. This was interesting. He was very, very similar to actually DK Metcalf's rookie season. Very similar production. Metcalf was 58 for 907, and Harrison was 62 for 885 and 8. Now the 8's a great number.
It is.
Malik Neighbors couldn't hit that. 8, if that's predictive of what his future is as being this double-digit threat at wide receiver, which I think it is, especially in this offense, then that's going to lead to very good things because the volume should become more consistent, and the underneath routes and the more forced targets. We need to see more of that for Arizona.
The confidence that the team showed that they have in Marvin Harrison Jr. by literally not drafting offense. It was like they took a look at their defense, said, hey, our offense is young. We've got a good core. We're going to get better. We don't need to draft offense.
It's funny because I feel like that was a mandate on Kyler.
You're saying like –
I feel like that was a way of saying like, Kyler, here you go. You got another year with this group, and – we'll rebuild the offense if we have to after that. And that part scares me about Marvin. But I think we all should forgive a rookie wide receiver that disappointed a little bit. He'll be drafted more appropriately this year with upside.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I'm going to talk about George Pickens.
This one's interesting.
Pittsburgh Steeler. And this is because
what do they say, forgive and forget? I was moving towards forget with George Pickens.
I already forgot.
That's where he is. Christian McCaffrey, we said he's an underdog, whatever. He's a top 10 running back. I don't remember where he was. Marv is going as a top 20.
You're talking about a draft pick?
Yeah, ADP-wise.
Yeah, it's RB8.
Yeah, so 8. Marv right now on sleepers, wide receiver 19. George Pickens in best ball right now is going as the wide receiver 43. And so this, me saying I'm going to forgive George Pickens is not, I'm looking at, hey, the ceiling is still there. It feels like things are much different now. The scenario is not great with who is the quarterback. Is it Mason Rudolph? Is it Aaron Rodgers? We still don't know. And DK Metcalf is there with a brand new bag of money. But the point being, like, we've seen stretches of George Pickens come out here, especially if you're talking about a best ball league, a guy who can, on a given week, just randomly explode and have a huge stat output. He's 24. He's in the final year of his deal. Last year we had weeks 4 through 11 where he was almost 12 fantasy points a game. Wide receiver 15 in that span. So to see, like, I feel like this is an overcorrection. Sending him down to wide receiver 43 is like you're saying it's close to impossible that he's going to do anything great for you. And there are wide receivers being drafted right ahead of him where you are. I mean, you're hopeful and you're projecting an upward trajectory for some guys, but to leave Pickens there, I think is a bit of a mistake.
Have you statted Pittsburgh out, Jason?
I have not yet.
Mike, have you statted them out?
No, I got 7 teams right now.
I do not expect my ranking to be much higher than 43 for George Pickens. Now, I don't mind taking a shot on a 24-year-old talented wide receiver.
I think that's the biggest point.
And that's fine. But
59 for 903 last year, pre-DK.
He will definitely be the wide receiver 2 for this team. What they have done in trading for DK and giving him that monstrous contract, they view DK as the one they needed. Now, George Pickens, if he were replacing T. Higgins over in Cincinnati, he would dominate. He could be a great wide receiver 2 for a team. The issue is the quarterback play.
I feel like I would agree that this is too low if it's Rodgers, but I think it will rise if it's Rodgers.
Let me ask you, because I'm just looking at the ADP.
Are people operating under the assumption that it's not Rodgers?
Well, only because he's not officially said it. But I think most people think it's going to be Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I can't stat it to be Rodgers right now because he's not there. But
he was rumored to be traded too.
Well, there was an update on that. If you missed that one, Andy, just a little, rumors from the bushes and things of there was.
He said he's happy to be there.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Essentially, like, he's the one saying, no, I pulled back on any of those things. I want to be in Pittsburgh. So, I mean, he's at least publicly, it looks like he wants to be there.
Let me ask you the wide receivers going right in front and behind.
Okay.
And see who you would rather have. George Pickens or Jameson Williams?
I'd go Jameson Williams there.
George Pickens or Jordan Addison?
Oh,
I'll probably take Addison.
That's really close.
Close.
So
I thought you were going to say Darnell Mooney.
Those are the players that are right ahead of Pickens. Right behind Pickens, Jerry Jeudy. Would you rather have Jerry Jeudy or Pickens?
I think Pickens.
So I feel like he's going to, when draft season comes around, I think he'll be right around here. And if Aaron Rodgers is there, that might be too low.
Is he going into year 4?
Yeah, he's in contract year, and a super small sample because we'd have 4 games of George Pickens with Mason Rudolph, and I mean, like, look at the Titans last year when Mason Rudolph came in. That's when you were pumped to play Calvin Ridley. Mm-hmm. Not that I don't think Mason Rudolph's a good quarterback for a real life NFL team, but he at least gives us some of that. I don't care. I'm going to just chuck the ball up stuff that we want from quarterbacks in those 4 games that Pickens has played with Rudolph, and I don't have the surrounding cast in those games, but in those 4, Pickens was over 90 yards a game.
Oh, he was great in those games. So but he didn't have DK Metcalf yet, and so that's my issue. Is if it's Mason Rudolph and George Pickens isn't the one, it's like I don't want sloppy seconds from Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, but you could have a really strong consolidation of targets if we get targets.
It seems like a good time to take a break. We'll come back with the news. All right, let's get into the news.
news and notes from around the league.
Well, Matthew Stafford finalized the new deal with the Rams. He'll earn $44 million in 2025.
And if he is on the roster at the start of free agency the following year, he locks up another $40 million. So they are clearly happy with Stafford. McVay came out and said that he thinks he can play forever, but he's hopeful he's got a couple more years.
He's 37. He's the oldest starting quarterback in football. The Browns restructured Jerome Ford's contract. He will make less money. He will secure a roster spot, and Nick Chubb's days as a Cleveland Brown are officially over. It seemed like the chance of Ford leaving was Chubb's chance to maybe be on the roster.
Yeah, it definitely was, and the salary potential gets cut in half, but it did move to a fully guaranteed 1.75. I'm expecting it to be Judkins and Ford as the runners.
And then the writing was on the wall in the draft for this news, but the Houston Chronicle reporting that Tank Dell will more than likely miss the entire 2025 season and be placed on the physically unable to perform list. They grabbed Christian Kirk in the offseason. They drafted a couple of rookie wide receivers, and Tank Dell's future as an NFL player is really in question. I think. And it's sad because he's very talented, close friends with C.J. Stroud.
Did you see his leg tattoo? Tank Dell? Have either of you guys seen? Oh, my goodness.
What, like a new one, or it's already
his leg is a piece of art. It's kind of like Dak Prescott, where you've just got this insane tattoo.
Now, what is it? What makes it's just
you gotta look at it.
It's nothing to do with the injury?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's a horror movie.
It's
sleeve.
Incredible.
Like this look, that's Michael Myers.
I just saw it yesterday, and I don't know how many times we're going to be able to talk about Tank Dell.
Well, how'd the surgically repaired knee look in the tattoo? That's the
they
look okay.
They worked the stitches into the tattoo.
Okay. Zay Flowers did not have knee surgery. He's feeling great in his off-season work. There was some concern that he may need to have surgery after missing 2 games last year.
Yeah, well, he missed the playoffs because he got hurt right at the very end of the season.
And the Chargers applied the unrestricted free agent tag to J.K. Dobbins, which I believe was the same tag placed on Elijah Moore, which just guarantees them compensation if he signs someplace before training camp.
Yeah, I think that's all it is they're trying to build up their compensatory picks.
But that's it. I think that's all we have by way of news, unless you guys have anything else.
That's all I got.
Aaron Rodgers make a decision yet? No,
not till minutes before camp. Maybe after.
Here we go.
Mailbag.
Yeah. If you have a question for the show, you can go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, click the submit a question button, or you can dial our voicemail hotline. The number there, 302-464-TFFB. We're actually going to kick it off with a voicemail question.
Hey, Ballers. This is Tom from New Jersey. How do you determine someone to be a keeper? In our league, we keep 2 every year, but we lose the draft spot 1 before where they were drafted. So if someone was drafted round 6, we lose round 5 this year. Thanks, Ballers.
So it's more of a question about establishing the value that you're going to give up to keep that player on your team. Our league of record, our restrictions are more positionally based of we have a player that you get to keep no matter what, and then you select 3 players to randomly get 2 of them on your team, but their positions cannot match the locked-in keeper. I'm good with this. I like the rewarding people for drafting get 1-round discount of either where you took them, or you can go off of ADP and say, I get, if ADP is in the 5th round, this guy costs me a 6th round. The biggest thing
this one is 1 round higher than where you drafted him.
Yeah.
Right?
This version is not a reward.
I don't know
totally, but
if you got Bucky Irving,
then you're still getting a heavy reward.
12th round, you get to keep him for an 11.
Yeah. So
and usually in leagues like this, they will that rule keeps you from having a player forever, because then the next year it'll be worth more and then worth more.
The biggest thing is if you're talking about players off of the waiver wire, because I like these systems because reward a draft. Reward people for taking chances. in the draft and calling your shot and getting it right. For guys off the waiver wire, I'm either on the team of you can't keep them or they cost their ADP.
I completely agree.
You don't get it's not like your last round. You're like, oh, I got him off the waiver in week 1, and it was like a lot of people with Bucky. Oh, I got him off the waiver wire, and now I get to keep him for a 14th round. Getting absolutely not.
I mean, those situations certainly stack if you're having multiple keepers too. Like if it's a league with one keeper or something like that, then the advantage is not as pronounced, and it can be exciting and fun to have a situation like that. But if you're keeping multiple keepers and you get them at, and they're multiple free agents that hit, that then you're really stacking the deck in your favor. Maybe you do a round behind ADP as a reward for that. Bucky is going to go in the 2nd or 3rd round this year,
something like that. Yeah.
So maybe you get it around behind that. Maybe you get them at ADP, like you said, as an option.
Slight discount from ADP. I think is the right way. There's a lot of ways to do keepers that are fun, but I think this is a good time because keeper leagues, in my opinion, are the best format. It's better than redraft. It's better than dynasty. It takes what you love from both of them, the draft season, and that's still exciting. Whereas in a dynasty league, it's not. It's a very small rookie draft window every year. You don't have that big draft ever again.
Which, I mean, our dynasty league just did it, and it's over. And we're done until the season starts.
But in the season, the waiver wires, the action that you don't have in dynasty, in the off season, you can still trade picks. So and this is the time of year right now, if you're listening and you don't play in a keeper league, maybe talk to your league or find some guys and gals to start a new keeper league and try it out if you haven't played it. It is so fun.
I have never felt like our draft day experience wasn't as fun as a pure redraft.
Yeah.
Right.
It's actually, in a lot of ways, it's strategically more engaging. Because you have some keepers. The league has keepers. When you think about how they're going to draft, it's even more strategic.
And there's so many trades that happen prior to the draft. Like when we come into the draft board is wild. Maybe someone has traded some of their keepers for, a first-round pick, a second-round pick, something like that early on, and so that's something you can't do. I mean, sometimes in a regular redraft, it's like I'll trade you these 2 picks for that one.
Yeah, it doesn't make as much sense, though.
Yeah, it doesn't fly. It's not as much action.
All right, Instagram question from Betty Marshall. Does Jonathan Taylor still have potential for Bijan, Gibbs, and Saquon value?
I think on a redraft level, yes. If you didn't experience Jonathan Taylor's end of the season, he looked just like the running back that was the running back 1 to start. I mean, those last 5 games, he was. I mean, it's a 5-game stretch. It's not what you would bank on, but that was a 2,500 rushing yard pace, 20 rushing touchdown pace. He was just dominating.
He played also, though, for some context, he played the team with the first pick. The Giants were 3rd, were the Patriots the 4th pick. Jacksonville was the 5th pick. Like he played basically the 5th.
They were the
worst teams in the league,
and he was the one giving them those high picks in the draft.
They were done as well.
Yeah,
and so that was the quarterback situation last year went to crap for Indianapolis.
I'm with you, Jay. When you pull up those numbers, they're against Tennessee, 29 for 218. Like he did do that, but you have to factor the context in at least a little bit. This is not him dominating, top half defenses at the very beginning of the season.
Yeah, if you're talking about the breakaway runs, that's not easy to project. But the opportunities at the end of the year, that's what I loved seeing. And I think whichever quarterback it is, they're still going to put Jonathan Taylor in there. 25 carries, 22 carries, 29 carries, 32, 34. Like this team.
It's a pace of 482 attempts, which
that's outlandish. Couldn't happen. But the point
what's the highest?
Is that
Kyle, what's the highest rushing attempts ever in a season?
Is it the team and the coaching staff? Like that hasn't changed. He will be like the guy in the backfield, barring injury.
They did lose, I believe, 2 of their more experienced offensive line starters, Ryan Kelly I think Will Freeze also left. But, yeah, I mean, what is the potential for those seasons? It was 2021 when he was the RB1. He showed you in that stretch what he can do with volume. I don't know, probably a 5% chance that he could beat those three guys for me. But the fact that but his chance to be an RB1 is probably 75%.
Yeah, I think it's still strong, but Bijan gives
I just don't like
Saquon
the team.
level.
I just don't like the team that much. I like Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor.
I don't like Daniel Jones.
Jonathan Taylor is amazing. The issues, I'm talking him up, but the reality that you have to look at with Jonathan Taylor is you could see a Saquon Barkley-like season last year where he didn't catch a lot of passes, and he was the running back one. But the difference is he was on an offense that scored an obscene amount of touchdowns, and you can't project that for the Colts, and you can't project him to have a ton of receptions like Bijan and Gibbs. So really, I think the most likely outcome is that he's going to be an awesome player, getting a ton of opportunity and not scoring enough touchdowns or catching the ball enough to be top 3 style running back. But he has the talent to be in the tier with these other guys.
The funny thing about Saquon, and maybe we've never said it like this, but was he a better player last year than he was the years before?
Nope.
Was he more talented?
No.
I think the same.
That's the amazing thing about the Saquon Barkley season, is that this is Saquon Barkley. It was a change of scenery.
Yeah,
it was a change in situation.
Does that show you how bad DeAndre Swift is?
Yes.
Yeah, because he had this offense. He had this team. He had that offensive line.
He looked
pretty good.
He looked pretty good for a lot of those games.
Man, he made some money. Thank you. He should write an affiliate check to the entire offensive line of Philadelphia.
The Larry Johnson.
I remember
had the most.
I remember it.
416.
No, I'm just kidding.
Playing for the Charlotte Hornets. So, well, I guess we've only had 5 players over 400 attempts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember the Larry Johnson season, 2006.
Was that right before it just all fell
I don't
apart?
know.
Come on, Shane.
I don't know.
Give
if you
him
saw,
the ball.
On the 416th,
don't do it, man.
on the 416th carry, all his legs just fell off.
It was after
all of his legs.
All of them.
Wow.
All 2 of them.
416. That was the last big year for Larry. Everything just broke down after that.
Come on, Steichen. Don't be a coward.
All right.
It's so wild though. Back, what was 2021 for JT? Jonathan Taylor at the top was so short-lived.
Yeah, well, I mean, look,
he was definitely the dynasty RB1 at that moment in time.
383 carries that year, and he followed it up with 2 injury-riddled seasons.
That's
what's going to happen. That's what happens when you give players that much work, unless they're named Derrick Henry.
Wild.
Tay Pubs on Instagram. Can the Chargers win the AFC?
Absolutely.
Not. Absolutely not.
You think absolutely not?
Correct.
I believe the Chargers.
The entire AFC?
The entire
AFC West?
I mean, obviously, right now you got the KFC? You've got the Ravens, the Bills, and the Chiefs clearly ahead of them. According to sports books, you've got the Bengals a little bit ahead as well,
and the Broncos,
and they're right there with the Broncos. But to me, the Chargers, talent-wise, roster-wise, coaching-wise, quarterback, I don't see any reason they cannot compete with every single one of those teams.
I'm going to write my odds down on the board.
What does that mean?
I'm just showing you their odds of winning the AFC are 0%.
He's holding up a 0%.
Okay, so tell me why.
No. I don't agree with Mike.
Tell me why you think that they have a 0% chance of winning the AFC.
Well, number one, Patrick Mahomes is in there, and so is Josh Allen, and it's just
so is Lamar Jackson,
and so is Lamar Jackson,
and so is Joe Burrow,
and then factoring in just how overall the unit of the Denver Broncos, like as a team, because I'm not like, Bo Nix is. I think Bo Nix is going to be a good quarterback and take another step. I don't think the Chargers with the current team.
So is this more about the other teams?
Yes, 100%. I'm not saying the Chargers are bad.
I have tried. I'm on a 10-year run wanting to pick the Chargers to win the dang AFC, the whole thing. I'm giving up.
Yeah,
so it's a weird time to give up.
I don't know how he's going to get through those 4
Charger
quarterbacks.
fans. I'm not disgracing your team.
Let me put it this
the other
way.
ones are a little bit better.
The Chargers could win the most games in the AFC this year. That could happen. They can't. I don't think they can win in the playoffs against those 4 quarterbacks.
Well, that's not. Yeah, I mean, but the question is, who wins the most games in the regular season, right?
No, it's who wins the AFC. That would mean they go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that is what that means.
Oh, that's funny. I was interpreting this completely
as
backtrack.
No,
as like they are the number 1 seed in the AFC.
That's not what win the AFC means, man.
Regardless, I'm not backtracking because I definitely think they could come out of the AFC as well. I think they could beat those teams. With Harbaugh, they are a different team. They are
the playoffs, man. The playoffs.
They're going to have a great running game with Amarian Hampton and Najee.
I still think they need a wideout.
Oh, that's because you don't love.
I do love Ladd McConkey.
No, I'm talking about Trey Harris.
Yeah, Trey Harris is not the key to them winning the AFC.
Yeah, famous last words.
What's your percentage? Let's see how bold you are.
Mike do you want me? I'll put mine back down.
Mike said 0.
Well, then I'll do it again.
Of coming out of the
of winning the AFC. Do we have to say it like the number one? The
going
team
to the
that goes
Super Bowl.
to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Holy balls, dude! What?
18%.
Wow.
18%.
You need to go back to Chargers.
Yeah, well,
that's a really high number.
I had written 8% down.
Yeah, we were very close. I just had a little line.
Also, new expression, Mike. You unlocked a new expression. All right, G Marshall 27 on Instagram. Have you ever made a trade with your biggest rivals?
Oh yeah, I mean
of course.
Andy is my biggest rival because we were in division.
Yeah, how's it feel now? Totally different, right?
It feels totally different to not be in your division.
We used to be for 10 years or more, probably what, like 13 years, division rivals.
Yeah,
and when we made trades, they always worked out perfectly for you.
Oh man, all I know is we get asked questions all the time, like, oh, what's the best trade you've ever made? Oh, what's the worst trade you've ever made? And it's hard to remember, and I will never be able to forget the trade I didn't take from Andy.
Oh, I forgot. I thought you were going to go back to.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
It's the worst whiff of all time. I mean, right in the middle, 2 years ago,
Saquon Barkley for Eckler and a couple firsts.
Yeah.
Yes, basically the highest draft picks that we can trade in our keeper league. He had 2 of them. He offered 2 of them, plus Saquon Barkley, who became the running back 1 for Austin Eckler, who at the time was on fire.
Yeah.
He was doing great. His playoff schedule was great. I was trying to repeat as the champion of the league of record, and I just decided, no, that's a lot of value. It's good.
You
but
talked about it.
Me and my co-manager, we went, shut the door. We talked through it. We looked at the schedule. We dove deep, and we made a mistake because, oh my goodness, if last year I could have had instead of Eckler, Barkley plus 2 of the best picks in the draft,
it would have been better for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Kyle does want you to know, Jason, the books, 18%. That's where the Chiefs are.
Okay. So I don't. I
it's
think
okay to have a hot take, man. I like the Chargers.
I genuinely think it is a complete toss-up for who wins that division, like a coin flip. I see them and the Chargers, and I'll put the Broncos in there too. Those 3 teams. I mean, I think I legitimately might go Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, but I think they're in the same tier.
It should be very interesting to see. Like last year was defined by these Chiefs games that they just had no business winning over and over and over.
Oh my gosh, that was the worst.
And we got another year older for Travis Kelce. I think it'll be very interesting in that division. I worry about the playoffs, but if they had home field somehow, maybe they get it done. So yeah, in terms of trading with your biggest rival, yeah, Jason and I for many years, I would say that Mike and I have made very few trades. Historically,
but I've traded with everybody.
Yeah, I don't think that any of us are like. Is there anybody in any of our leagues you're like, no way?
No, there are people that.
Al?
There are people in the. Oh,
don't do that to me on the air.
Okay. All right.
Oh man.
But no, I don't have anybody. Like that.
It doesn't matter the team if they have players that I want or I need, and we're compatible for a trade, then. It's fine. Make a trade.
Yeah.
All right. We'll take a break, and we've got a blast from the past question coming up. All right. Back into the mailbag. And for those of you that have been listening to this podcast for quite some time, it's time to go back in history. I'm seeing a picture of the Big Salad shirt, and the question is...
Sean Drone.
The question is, who are this year's fantasy vegetables? And I do have a very quick to mind answer.
I have 2 very quick to mind answers. 1 wide receiver, 1 running back.
Yeah, I got a running back. Look, Big Salad. That was Sean Drone's name. We made the point that sometimes you just got to eat your greens. You need that tried and true, nutritious player that just gets the job done. It's not flashy. Doesn't taste great, but they do the work, and that is Brian Robinson.
Oh, that's a great
Brian
answer.
Robinson is the big salad.
That is a great answer.
Who do you got?
I have at running back Chuba Hubbard.
That was
very big salad.
He is
very
not.
Big salad.
I still don't really want to draft him. I'm not excited, but he's way better than we think he is. Like he's very good. And then Darnell Mooney. He is.
Oh yeah,
you don't have great upside, and he's going to be drafted low because when you look at, do I want Darnell Mooney, who's a 2, or another player that this guy could be a boat? You always try to take the boat, but Darnell Mooney's just going to go out there and get it done on a week by week basis.
Yeah, that's a good one. You got anybody, Mike, that you want?
Chuba was going to be my answer.
Okay, here's a Broncos question from Anderson Love. Outlook on Broncos wide receiver Marvin Mims after the draft. It looks, on paper, like Cortland Sutton is obviously there, and then there's Marvin Mims, who got involved late in the season. You got Vele. You've got Troy Franklin still there. You drafted Pat Bryant. You've got Evan Ingram in the equation now. Let's not forget Evan Ingram. So Marvin Mims, are we...
The Marvin Mims experience of just over and over verbally us hearing from Sean Payton that I got to figure out how to get Marvin Mims on the field. We've had 2 years of that being said, for him to average 27% of offensive snaps.
Yeah, he was healthy
this year.
He played all 17 games,
and he can hit a big play on any given game, but I feel like now we're being 2 years into it. The snaps actually went down from his rookie season to his sophomore season, and the fact that they added a third-round wide receiver in Pat Bryant, I would say he is he can help the football team, but for fantasy football, you're putting him into your DFS lineup and hoping that's the week that he goes 2 catches for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
It is absolutely foolish to believe after the amount of games we have seen him used and, that he would take a massive step up to fantasy relevance. And again, I think Marvin Mims is a very good player, and just like Mike said, will help the team. He plays on special teams. He's a good returner. He can come in on a package and just fly down the field. But I don't see them changing what they've done for 2 years with him.
All right.
And you've got Troy Franklin there who's going to step up any minute.
Instagram question from Taylor Stewart. Which team had the most disappointing draft from a fantasy football perspective? That's a good question.
Cowboys, probably.
Dallas, no day 2 or day 1.
You didn't get the
offensive weapons.
Yeah, we didn't get the wide receiver we were hoping for, and you didn't get a running back with draft capital. Not like Jaden Blue is. The Cowboys are going to be fascinating when you're trying to figure out who are you going to draft here, because it's Javonte and Miles Sanders. Like it is just a conglomeration of underperforming guys on that team who are making very, very little money, and then you got Jaden Blue, who I think it was a 5th-round pick, but he's
smaller.
He's a smaller guy, so I have no idea who to draft from that team. But I know that someone on that squad will have running back 2-ish value.
Well, and the sad part is, sometimes when a team does not draft the high draft capital running back that they were maybe projected to, it's really good. You're like, whew, good, my veteran escaped. But you're not even excited about Javonte there. So Brian Robinson, I like the fact that the Commanders didn't take a running back when they were, that could have been a big threat. And it's like, oh, well, there's a winner. I don't view Javonte as like he won, but I don't view him as a winner at all.
But we lost.
We lost.
And it's so
any conversations for Javonte in fantasy lineups, which will now be necessary, we lose.
And it's the check marks for Javonte are he is the projected starter right now because he's making the most money. But it's not by a wide margin over Miles Sanders.
They didn't pay him a lot.
And I watched both of these guys play last year, and they were both extremely disappointing. But I feel like Miles was not as disappointing as Javonte.
You know who I was disappointed in? It was Denver. Because it's not that I can't get excited for RJ Harvey to potentially be valuable. It's just that that is all coming from Sean Payton. That is not coming from our pre-draft player evaluation excitement the way we were for Hampton or for Henderson.
It was a reach based off of mocks.
It was them falling in love with a guy, and it's just such a good opportunity.
They were sitting there with Henderson and Hampton available to be picked, and that was the dream spot for everyone.
With their first rounder?
Yeah, was go to Denver, and they had the chance, and they bypassed. So I completely agree. They were, even more than the Cowboys, they disappointed me. They came back and tried to make good by taking, R.J. Harvey with good draft capital, but
it's weird because
really wanted one of those guys.
There was not a running back home run spot. Because the only one that you can point to and say, I think that is Hampton with the Chargers. But even that,
I think the Genty spot's a home run.
Oh, okay. You know what's funny?
Based off of
he's not a rookie.
Yeah, it's like Genty.
He's been in the league for 4 years.
It's like Genty the lock. Yeah, I'm sorry, absolutely Genty.
Okay.
But of all the other destinations that we thought were home runs, Dallas, Denver, Chicago, even the Chargers. Like the Charger, it will be a home run, but I don't know if it is in year one.
That's fair.
It might be.
It is funny the fact that Genty will not come up in many conversations. Like when you're having conversations of who's the rookie running back that's going to do great this year, like just avoid the name because he doesn't count.
No, it does. I mean, where's his ADP going to be 4?
Genty?
Yeah,
pretty close,
man.
And who doesn't want to take him?
I have gone through and I have statted out the Raiders and hoo-ha, I want to take him.
Let me guess your can I make a guess on total yardage?
Oh my god.
So
total combined?
Total scrimmage yards?
Yeah, scrimmage yards.
Sure.
1,550.
You would be short. I have him at 1,653.
Oh man.
1,232 on the ground,
we got some Genty
421
fans nodding
421 in the air.
It's hard to not project that.
It is hard because of the passing work. When you look at the expected pace, the Chip Kelly offense, what we've seen Geno Smith throw total, and then you just say,
hold on. The Falcon inducers Ellie has a projection for his total yardage. What do you have him down for, Mr. Guy who drafted him in his rookie draft?
Yeah, 2,300.
2,300.
2,300 total yards.
2,300 total yards.
So at least 1,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
20 touchdowns.
Wow, that's pretty good on the Raiders.
Ashton Genty is going to finish as the running back 2, and people are going to be furious.
Man, it's just how does he feel?
He's not in shape.
Oh, he's in shape.
Oh, I know.
No. I'm just checking that one off.
Oh, yeah.
You can't fail that way anymore.
Too.
Yeah. So.
If he stopped working out from now until kickoff, I don't think he could.
He can't get out of shape that fast.
You don't think he could Doncic?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Sorry.
In football, we call that an Eddie Lacy.
Yes. Man, where are we? More questions? Here we go. YouTube, Eric, who finishes higher this year in fantasy, Mahomes or Lawrence? Lawrence will have Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas. Mahomes will get Rashee Rice back. Worthy, Hollywood, Kelsey. I think it's going to be close. I haven't done my projections yet, but I bet you these guys are like 11 and 12.
I've got a decent gap between Lawrence and Mahomes.
Which
got Mahomes,
direction?
Mahomes on top.
Still, we got to just still believe.
I mean, he's not a top 5 quarterback to me. Mahomes is not.
Right.
But maybe it's more an indictment against Lawrence than it is.
Mahomes was the quarterback 11 last year. So.
I think that's about. I mean, I haven't finished the whole league, so I don't know where he will land. But I have Mahomes behind Bo Nix.
Well, let's wrap this up then with this follow up from YouTube. Malachi writes in, "Are we scared to draft Rashee Rice as wide receiver 2? Because those things are connected, and I am a little bit nervous about that.
So I am very much not at all nervous about Rashee Rice when he's on the field. The only question of drafting him and where his risk will be is about whether a possible suspension comes this year. I think by the time draft season is upon us, we'll have a little bit more clear expectation of the timeline because there's rumors that this suspension could be pushed another year. We still assume it is coming, and so obviously this isn't an injury risk. This is just he can't help you when he can't play football, and
so
there will be risk there.
You have no like distribution of target like concerns, because last year when he was killing it, Worthy wasn't established and Hollywood was hurt. So to me, it's like this is an under 4,000 yard team. I guess I'm just like quite.
I looked through the first 3 games, and actually, what was really telling, and granted, obviously Worthy was a rookie and Hollywood was not there. Yes, however, it was really Travis Kelce who took the hit. Travis Kelce was down at like 14% target share during those first 3 weeks of the season when he should be, at his best. Rashee Rice dominated in the target market share, and it was the same area of the field that Kelce is usually working. So that's, to me, when I statted this out, like Kelce has a pretty big fall from fantasy, superstar status in this year's rankings. I think this is the year where I've got him going to a very difficult to swallow 15% target share, which Travis Kelce has never been. I mean, he was still 26% last year, but when you look at the games when Rashee Rice was healthy, he was not as involved. He's older, and then you bring in Worthy and Hollywood back.
Patrick Mahomes has never had multiple top 50 wide receivers.
Because of Travis Kelce.
Worthy and Rashee Rice will be drafted way higher than top 50. They'll both.
Oh, yeah.
Right now they're in the wide receiver 20 range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just going to be a push comes to shove situation for them.
So, essentially, I think what I think we're working through here is someone is going to take a tumble.
Right, and it could be.
I have it being Kelce.
Yeah.
You have it being Rice as.
I just think Rice is probably around a wide receiver 20, 25 guy.
Sure.
But that is to be determined.
I am moving rapidly towards just projecting Rice it's a full
to dominate.
I'm just mean games played. Like I think he's looking healthy.
I'm not that worried about the suspension.
That's saying like I
just want to know what I got.
Both health and suspension, I think, will be not concerns of this year. It's just then it's what do you believe about the player, but to have all those things of like how many games is he going to miss up in the air, that changes everything. But if you're approaching the season like he's going to be there day one, then now what do you think of the player?
Do you think the team is lying when they say they want to throw the ball again down the field? Because to me, obviously Hollywood and Worthy are they're made for that. Obviously, you need the underneath stuff. You need everything else. But I guess I'm curious how you project Worthy relative to Rashee Rice.
I haven't projected him out, but the way that it's working in my head is a hit will go to Worthy. Like Rashee Rice will get his place in the offense back where he operates because I think he's better at it doing that than what Worthy is doing, and Worthy's got speed and can open things up and be a distraction. But I do believe them when they say that. I think they look at the last year's games where I think that they could be objectively honest and say, guys, we won a lot of games that we should not have won. And going back to those games, we should not have been in a close game. We have to be able to put up 30-plus points on any given week if that's how we have to win. So I do believe it a little bit. Oh, yeah. Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Whoa.
Justin Tucker has been released by the Ravens.
Yeah. Yep.
Seems like the right move. You did draft a kicker.
Yep.
Peace. Goodbye. Goodbye. The show's over. That is it for today's episode. You got a month. Less than a month. The Ultimate Draft Kit, June 1st. Available. Get it at a pre-order price right now at ultimatedraftkit.com. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.